This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Thank you, David. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam, here with my friends Jeff, Al, and Tori, and we're going to do things just a tad different today. Just a smidgen. We're going to look back at some of the moments on the show that got us talking. So
like when
Jeff,
you said smidgen?
Yeah, I was thinking that really bothered me. I'm glad you said something.
Smidgen's great.
I don't like that word. It's a weird
Smidgen's a
word.
great word.
I don't know.
It sounds like you're smushing a pigeon. It's
I'm
a bad visual. I didn't like that.
It was perfectly fine. Well said.
Thank you, Tori.
I'm triggered.
When Jeff Bezos became the latest billionaire to go into space, Tori and Lindsay got into a heated discussion about what the super rich should or should not be doing with their money. Have a listen.
I just think all these billionaires spending all this money to go somewhere like a road to space, to get to space, feels a little, and maybe you can call me out on this, escapism from what's actually going on Earth. Meaning, if I had that much money that I could literally turn around climate change in my country or help childhood hunger, I would feel a moral compass and a responsibility towards that rather than a cowboy hat in space. I feel strongly that space is important, but I also feel our Earth is burning up and we aren't stopping it, so we're just going to go to space and that's the escape. That's what I feel all these billionaires are doing.
You know, it's just interesting because the two things that you're bringing up, he has a $10 billion fund.
Commitment fund
that he already he already put hundreds of millions towards it.
Right.
And then he has a $100 million to Feeding America fund.
His ex-wife just donated $2.7 billion.
I know, but so you're comparing like how much you think he should spend on what thing, but this man is very charitable.
He's not charitable.
That is charitable. $100 million and $7 billion commitment.
No, billions it's charitable for Jeff Bezos. Like we're talking millions is nothing. I'm being honest. I don't think that's a lot of money.
But who are you to say how much somebody should give away when they are the one that's a billionaire?
It's not.
You're saying what you would give away. So if you were Jeff Bezos and you would go on and you would fix every road in America and then go to space. Like this man has been interested in space since he was younger.
Awesome.
He actually went up there on the anniversary of Neil Armstrong going up there. So it's like a big deal to him. And space actually helps us figure out the future and where we're going.
For 4 minutes.
What if
Meanwhile, I could end childhood hunger with a check. So
he gave a $100 million check. What do you want?
I'm talking about using your money responsibly instead of a tourism that only billionaires can afford in the future.
But maybe there's
only millionaires, only well-off people could afford to take the first flights. Flights weren't made for everybody. Now everybody can connect with their family across the country, across the world.
Southwest.
You know, exactly. Southwest, Frontier. Like, so what do you mean? It's going to change over time, but he's starting this trend just like the other billionaires that are helping start this trend.
Both can be true, right? I like space exploration. I like what he's doing. Do I wish he spent more in taxes? Do I wish he spent more like his ex-wife who's spending billions on historical black colleges? Yes, I do. I think it looks weak, and it's not my moral
That's an
compass.
erroneous argument, Tori. Everybody writes off a dinner that they didn't actually talk about business
course.
on.
Did I write
so
off-
don't tell what Amazon should do in taxes and what you would do.
Wow, that was a
Heated little debate
Tori
there.
arguing with a pregnant woman on TV.
I know, I felt really bad after. Yeah, and look, a lot of people have written to me and told me, Tori, stay out of the wallet. And that's totally fair. It's not my money. This is just if I had that money.
Let's say generalization, not Bezos, but
Right.
billionaires. What do you think they should be doing?
Let me just ask Tori one question real fast. Do you have Amazon Prime?
Yeah. I know, and they don't treat their workers well either, and I still use it. It's hypocritical of me.
Yeah,
100% it is. But I also don't have a gazillion dollars and I'm not paying taxes. I'm a consumer, but I'm not the head of it.
You would cancel your Amazon Prime and not order things off of Amazon.
That's
anymore.
fair. That's really fair.
Thank you.
Text us when it's done. Text us when you've canceled
I said Texas. Okay, cool.
It's your turn, Jeff.
Oh, it is me. It is me.
I was just going to sit here. I wasn't going to say
Okay, this
anything.
next story, wow, has us shaking our heads. A British influencer went under the knife in order to look Korean. I feel uncomfortable just even saying that because they feel they were born the wrong race. Let's take a look.
Okay, and here is a look at Ali before and after the surgery, and a correction to that name is Jimin. Okay, Erica, what are you thinking?
Racial transition surgery? What's that? Where'd they do that at? What? I am so confused. I don't even have the words. Like, what?
Well, no, you got to go a little bit, right? How does this?
I always say, you know, when people say,
People want to be black until it's time to be black. I don't know what it's like to be Korean. I don't know what the experience is, but I would imagine that you wouldn't want someone to just transition into your culture. I certainly feel that way about my culture because you haven't done the legwork.
Is this where society is going to draw the line on racial transition surgery, that as a society, people aren't going to accept that? Is that what we're saying as a society?
But I mean, is it racial transition if a white woman goes to her doctor and says, I want Rihanna's eyelid
No,
shaped?
that's not this case, though. But that's not this case. This case was very specific. I identify as Korean. Therefore, in order for me to complete my transition, I need this plastic surgeon to make me Korean. That
the plastic surgeon is just doing the physical part. That's what I'm saying. No matter how you identify whether you got the surgery or not, they have already identified as Korean. What I'm saying is the actual surgery is just altering your appearance, which is what people get. Erica, you're making a face. What people get.
I'm listening.
Oh, no.
That's just my face.
I just want to know if I was saying something erroneous. The actual surgery part is just you altering your appearance to something that you, I'm assuming, think is more attractive.
I think we're taking it to two different places.
Right.
When you have a transition surgery and you feel like a man and you become a man into the surgery, you're identified as a man. So if I said something racial and I said, sorry, Al, I identify as black, where are we going in society when that's coming to like fruition?
This is I would imagine, like a one case out of how many billions of people?
Well, we know two. There was Rachel Dolezal.
Right, but she never went through surgery.
She didn't get surgery, but she says that she identified as black. That's what I'm saying. The surgery part is almost completely separate than how you identify.
And I would hope the medical community would step up.
And I think most people alter their appearance to look like somebody or that they find attractive, and I think that's what they did.
That's different than saying I'm Korean. That's not fair. Than me saying I'm black. That's not fair to you and Erica, given everything that you've gone through your whole life.
I think depending on where you grew up, I think whether you announce it to the world, you might identify as that. You would feel
You could identify with being from Garfield Park. You don't identify yourself as a black person.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. Not as a black person with black culture.
Yeah, culture is different.
Cultural,
right?
And cultural also can be about where you live. Like in terms of, yes, I understand what you're saying. That's environmental. But the thing about race isn't environmental. It's biological.
Right.
So you have to understand the difference.
Wow. That was a really important conversation, and we had a few people, their tweets stuck out to me, people that are trans advocates saying that this tiny, small case is being used to dismiss their transition surgeries.
Of course.
So it's important to note that this was like a 1 in a billion case, and then you can't compare that to people in the LGBTQ I have to wrap. Shoot. All right. Coming up on DBL, how did this woman end up living in the Tower of London, and did she really see ghosts? She tells us the scary situations she's ended up in, and we look back at our chat with 3-time Olympic gold medalist Gabby Douglas. Our interview with the history-making gymnast is next. Hey everyone, I'm Sam Shocker. The way I would describe myself as a host of DBL, well, my co-hosts call me like the mom, so I guess I'm kind of like the team mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Sam.
Oh, Mama Bear. Being a working mother is something that's very near and dear to my heart. I have such respect to all mothers out there, and that I love animals. I will advocate for animals till the day I die. The connection that we have built with the viewer, you feel like family. You share things that you are going through with us, and I felt comfortable sharing a really dark time in my life with you. I'm going through it.
I know.
I'm proud that we are inclusive. I'm proud that we have conversations about social injustices. Yes, we always have fun on this show, but at the end of the day, I feel like that we're making a difference. We really do provide a voice for the voiceless, and I'm so grateful for that.
Hey DBL Nation, my name is Jeff Schroeder, and I'm the host that's going to bring honesty to the panel. I think something most people might not know about me is that I actually met my wife on a reality show, and we've been together for 10 years and have 2 children now. What makes me different from the other hosts is I'll always try to see the other side. no matter what side I'm on, I want the audience to know that there is another side to the conversation and that I'm listening. The co-host that irritates me easily, Tori Shulman.
Was that the lamest thing I've ever?
I wanted to, yeah.
Sadly, no. What makes Daily Blast Live different from other shows is that we bring honest opinions in all different walks of life. DBL is real, DBL is raw, DBL is honest.
What's up, DBL Nation? Al Jackson here. I'm the host that brings a little bit of levity to the panel. Let's be honest, things get a little serious. Sometimes you gotta break that up with a little humor. That's where I come in.
Why can't you be an adult and be uncomfortable for a few hours? It's all right.
Something viewers might not know about me, I have a degree in biology. I know, it's weird. I wasted my money. And then I decided to go to graduate school for biomedical sciences. So that happened. The co-host that makes me laugh the hardest is Tori. She's one of a kind.
I'm just saying anything is possible if you trout yourself.
The co-host that irritates me easily is Tori. She's one of a kind.
Tori, does that taste like a neighborhood you've never been to?
Oh my God!
DBL is bold. DBL is unfiltered. DBL is uncensored. DBL is slightly censored.
Welcome back to DBL. The summer games are in full swing and we're catching up with one of the Fierce Five. We take a look back at our chat with Gabby Douglas. Take a look.
Her mom always used to say, inspire a generation. And that's exactly what Gabby Douglas did at just 16 years old. Gabby was the first African American to become the individual all-around champion at the 2012 Summer Games in London. As an adrenaline junkie, it's no surprise that she took the zest for life and applied it to gymnastics. Gabby Douglas is a 3-time gold medalist, and she taught us all that there's no I in team.
Yes, we're here with American gymnast and gold medalist. Yes, honey. Gabby Douglas. Yes. Thank you so much for coming on DBL. Gabby.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is our honor. Now, we can't wait to hear about the Unjunk Your Sleep tour, but first, let's talk Summer Games. You were the first African American to win you were the first African American to win an individual gold medal. Walk us through that moment at the podium. What was going through your mind, because we can all remember what was going through ours.
Oh my goodness, it was like a dream come true. It was like a Hollywood ending, like a Disney movie where everything, the outcome works, and it was it was so successful. And honestly, it was just like I literally had a flashback standing up on the podium, and I was like, all the hard work, the training, the blood, sweat, and tears, like all the adversity, the opposition, all the challenges I had to overcome and face, and I just thought, like, this is my life. Like, this is not even a medal. Like, this is my life. And it was just such a phenomenal feeling.
I love that she thinks it's like Bluebirds came in at the end and gave her the medal. It's a Disney ending, Gabby. All right. Now, tonight, athletes are participating in the opening ceremonies, and you were there. We want to know, what is it like to be there with all the teams? Is it like exhausting, or is it super exhilarating?
We were never allowed to actually perform or even engage in the opening ceremonies, because we compete right after that. So we honestly had to just be in bed, and we could watch a little bit on the TV, but we weren't really allowed to participate. We had to I missed the opening ceremonies twice, because I've been so grateful to be a part of both Olympics in 2012 and 2016, but we weren't allowed to
That's
participate.
So interesting.
So, Gabby, earlier this week, gymnast alternate Kara Eaker caught COVID, and now she can't compete. So how do you think this will affect the Team USA going forward into the competition?
I have so much respect, and I applaud these athletes during this time, because it is so hard and so difficult. Not only do you have to train, but also too, there's a pandemic going on, and now you have to social distance, and now you have to be careful who you're around, who you touch, what you touch. And then there's a case like this where you can't compete, and as girls and as women, this is our dream. This is what we were born to do. This is what we put in so much hours into our craft, and to not be able to do what you love is honestly heartbreaking.
So disappointing. Well, sis, we know champions like you are not made overnight. So what was a typical training day like for you, and can you spill what some of your go-to cheat foods were while competing?
Yes. So a day in the life of Gabby Douglas while training was boring, honestly, if I can say. The process is the same thing every day, because our bodies, like, we really need to do the same thing every day, and with anything, because it's muscle memory, and we want to make sure that when we go out to compete, it is like second nature. It is just like walking. And so every single day it's the same thing. But my cheat meals would be definitely something carby, like pasta, pizza.
Yeah. That's my every meal, Gabby.
Potatoes, yeah.
Okay, Gabby, with the Tokyo Summer Games roughly 16 hours ahead of the U.S., what impact could that have on athletes and their need to adjust their sleep in order to perform? I know if I don't get any sleep, I can't perform, and I'm not an athlete. So how can you unjunk your sleep to help? Because you need to talk about that.
Our bodies, our muscles, our minds, like, we definitely need more sleep as human beings, because we're not getting enough of it. And I'm so grateful to be here with Mattress Firm to talk about how to unjunk your sleep. And Mattress Firm is actually kicking off its Unjunk Your Sleep tour. They're going to have experts come and teach you how to unjunk your sleep. They're coming to Houston, Detroit, and New York City. So I recommend just going to junksleep.com for more info.
Thank you so much for coming on, DBL.
Thank you guys so much. You all are so sweet. All the best, and have a good day, you guys.
She gets a 10 out of 10.
Yes.
She landed. The dismount.
Thank you, sis. We'll be right back.
Landing.
Bye, love.
Nearly 600 people are facing charges for the Capitol insurrection, but not one of them is for domestic terrorism, even though FBI Director Christopher Wray used that term when testifying before Congress.
Such acts of domestic terrorism are an affront to the rule of law and have no place in our democracy.
Domestic terrorism was a leading search trend in the aftermath, so let's verify. Could demonstrators at the Capitol be charged as domestic terrorists? Our sources are the Patriot Act, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the Congressional Research Service. Until 2001, the term domestic terrorist was only loosely defined. The Congressional Research Service notes Oklahoma City bomber Timothy McVeigh was widely considered a domestic terrorist, but he was convicted of murder, conspiracy, and using a weapon of mass destruction, not domestic terrorism. It wasn't until the aftermath of 9/11 that Congress wrote a definition of domestic terrorism into the Patriot Act. However, charging someone with terrorism requires a link to an international terrorist organization. That's because the Congressional Research Service notes the FBI refuses to declare domestic groups as terrorist organizations to avoid infringing on Americans' free speech rights. So while Wray viewed the insurrection as domestic terrorism, we can verify it's false that the demonstrators at the Capitol can be charged with domestic terrorism. Instead, they're facing charges for specific crimes like entering a restricted building, obstructing an official proceeding, and damaging property. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. Want something verified? Email us or send us a text. For more Verify stories and to sign up for our newsletter, go to verifythis.com.
DBL is back with all new shows live. And this is where I'm going to push back.
And I can't follow that.
I'm not going to sit on this show and not say anything.
If you disagree with us, that's A-OK. DBL, all new every day. Welcome back to DBL. In some ways, 21-year-old Megan Clausen is living the life of a medieval princess. She and her dad live in the historic Tower of London. We chatted with her about her life in a castle, but it's not as glamorous as you may think. Have a look. Megan Clausen is bringing some unusual British history to life. She's been living in the Tower of London for a year with her dad, who is a beef eater or tower guard. The 13th century fortress was once a castle, a prison, and is now home to the famous crown jewels. It's also notorious for the beheading of Anne Boleyn, King Henry VIII's second wife. But Megan likes to focus on some of the lesser known facts of the tower's history.
The tale that I am about to tell is considered one of the goriest in the history of the Tower of London.
Her videos on TikTok have earned her 30,000 followers who love seeing what her life living in a tourist attraction is really like.
It's a real privilege to live inside the Tower of London until you realise that you're also part of the attraction and you have a lovely audience for most of the day.
Megan, welcome to DBL. So this is fascinating. My husband and I visited the Tower of London. It was one of our most memorable experiences. I can't believe that you live there. So how much of the tower's history did you know before you actually moved in with your dad, who's a guard there?
I thought when he said, oh, I'll be living in the Tower of London, I thought he meant he was going to be living in Tower Bridge. Really had no clue what I was letting myself in for, really.
The tower is heavily guarded, and that's kind of a question I have. So, like, what restrictions are there for you? Like, what can and can you not do?
There's always a beefeater on guard, so if you want to leave after a certain time, you have to sign out and things like that. And to be let in, again, you need to have told somebody beforehand, so everybody knows where you are at what time and what you're wearing and everything. So
No
it's
sneaking out.
I was going to say, so let's keep it 100. That's what we do on this show. How does this affect your dating life? Because I know it's got to be hard to tell people, like, hey, you need to sign in with this guard.
You date a beefeater.
That's right.
I am actually going out with the Queen's Guard, so I feel like the most British person in the world. So my dad is a beefeater, I live in the Tower of London, and my boyfriend is a Queen's Guard.
Wow, this doesn't even sound real.
I know.
So the tower was a prison at one point and the site of a few beheadings.
Yep.
So speaking of not real, is it haunted, and have you ever experienced a run-in with a tower ghost?
It does get a little bit hard when I'm here home alone, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, had a couple of drinks, and I was about to go to bed, and my TV flashed on kind of the old school static that you see in the horror films, with like a silhouette in front of it. So it's like it had just kind of head and shoulders, and then as quick as it flashed on, it flashed back off again, and I was like, okay, this is where I switch my phone off, roll over, and go to sleep. It was,
I would have ran out of there. Even if like the beefeater had to catch up with me, at least like a human was catching up with me, I could not imagine.
Well, she knows the rule, though. Like, if you go to sleep, ghosts can't get you.
Now, I had no idea that there was also an exclusive pub in the tower. I'm so mad I didn't get to visit it. Apparently, many celebrities go there. Leonardo DiCaprio has had a pint there. Is that true? Have you ever spotted stars?
Yeah, when you're famous, you know about it.
Wow. Have you ever heard about this? And maybe can I use you as a contact next time I'm there?
Well, yeah, even the celebrities have to know a beefeater personally to be able to be invited in. So even Leo had to have a beefeater invite him in. I've never met a celebrity in the bar myself, but my dad does the whole typical dad thing where he's so unaffected by fame and celebrities that he'll just come in after having 1 or 2 pints down there, and he'll be chatting away to me about typical dad things I'm like, okay, fair enough, get to the point. And then about 20 minutes later, he'll go, oh yeah, Tom Hardy was in the tower while I was down in the pub. And I was like, why didn't you ring me up? Just so yeah, I haven't met any myself. But
your dad hogs them all.
And she totally dismissed your invitation.
I know. You didn't say anything about me using you as a contact to get into the secret pub.
That was on purpose.
She laughed it off again.
Feel free if you're not
getting it.
Megan, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. You can follow all of Megan's adventures on TikTok at Megan AMBXR and learn a thing or two about British history. We'll be right back. DBL is your daytime destination.
I get very excited.
I was excited with you.
Okay, thank you.
We are fired up.
I am feeling very disagreeable. Educate yourself.
Though I got to push back because sometimes.
No, I won't accept that.
Check that.
And having fun.
You have 2 straws and a strawberry shake.
I felt it in my heart and in my soul.
What's Jeff thinking?
I don't want to get canceled.
DBL's all new every day.
As the COVID-19 pandemic continues and the Delta variant is on the rise, staying informed about the virus is as important as ever. Many big tech companies are monitoring content for disinformation, and even Facebook works with a third-party organization dedicated to fact-checking coronavirus news. But conservative lawmakers, including Senator Josh Hawley and Representative Paul Gosar, have accused the Democratic National Committee of taking it even further, saying they're working with the Biden administration to monitor text messages for COVID-19 vaccine disinformation. So let's verify. Is the DNC monitoring private texts for COVID-19 misinformation? Our sources are the Democratic National Committee and the Cellular Telecommunications Industry Association. The CTIA, a politically independent association that represents the U.S. wireless communication industry, issued a statement saying text messages between customers are not monitored and carriers are not working with any third-party companies with plans to do so. The DNC does have a counter-disinformation program that looks into fraudulent claims. It sometimes investigates text messages, but only those that are reported to them for disinformation, according to DNC spokesperson Lucas Acosta, who said, quote, "Of course the DNC has no ability to access or read people's private text messages, and we are not working with any government agency, including the White House, to try to see personal text messages," unquote. He said the committee does notify companies that run automated text messaging services if they believe a political text is sent out en masse that's fraudulent. So we can verify, no, the DNC is not monitoring private texts for COVID-19 misinformation. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. Want something verified? Email us or send us a text. For more Verify stories like this and to sign up for our newsletter, go to verifythis.com.
Hi, I am Tori Schulman, and I am DBL's legal eagle. So I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., not Virginia, not Maryland, Washington, D.C. What's coming up in DBL that's very exciting is some strong conversations and some sparks are gonna fly. The co-host that makes me laugh the most is Al, because he's funny, and then also Jeff, because he's so sad. You're sleeping. Anywho, I'm really looking forward to Lindsay joining the show because she's gonna bring my game up, keep me on my toes, but also get a little taste of the Schulmanator. Instead of saying, he's wrong, he's not. We saw the percentages. I'm always interested in what you, the viewer, has to say. And I'm not scared to debate you because sometimes you win.
Welcome back to DBL. We love hearing from our DBL Nation, and we have a question here for Jeff. Are you ready, Jeff?
I'm ready.
Okay, Jeff, if you could take your family on vacation anywhere, where would you go, and would Jordan pick the same place?
Yeah,
So with
I think
kids.
so. With kids, I want to go back to Italy. Jordan loves Italy. My mom was born there, but the Amalfi Coast specifically. My mom's
know.
like from the middle part.
Sorrento or all those? Positano.
Yeah, all those. Anyways, Italy, yeah, that's my answer. The food, the best. Jordan wants to go back.
So
It's
you're
the best.
both on board, you and Jordan.
We already talked about it. We just need to navigate this
Make
COVID
it happen. Okay, Tori, we got a question for you. Who would you like to invite on the DBL panel for
That's a good
day?
one.
It is a good question. I think I'm going to get yelled at by Jeff, but I do think his favorite, Larry David, would be perfect on DBL. I think he'd be great. He'd be funny.
hilarious.
Wow.
And I think he would give really honest advice on what he really feels. So I want someone to be real. That's him.
I thought you'd want like a replica Tory. A Tory bot.
DBL
I like
every
politics.
day. We'll see ya.